Welcome to ABC Interactive English. My name is Winnie.
And I'm Matt.
And today we are continuing part 2 of Saving Endangered Languages. Speaking of languages and also endangered languages, we always know the importance of practicing our languages, you know, whether it's speaking, reading, writing. Have you ever tried to pick up a language that you used to learn? And if so, like, how did you kind of get that language back up there?
Well, I haven't really managed to get it back up there, but as I mentioned in our last episode, I learned German in university. And I got pretty good at speaking German at that time. I lived with a German family in Germany for a little bit, and I had a lot of practice speaking German. But after I moved to Taiwan, I completely stopped speaking German, and now my German's pretty bad. At least, well, I can understand and read it still, but when it comes to trying to speak it, I just haven't practiced enough, and I can't really speak it anymore.
So that just actually shows the importance of how your environment and where you are really helps you learn a language. But as soon as you leave that community, it's important to do your own sort of maintenance in trying to keep that language. I'm the same with French. I can't really speak it anymore, but yes, I can read the instructions on the back of a box of something in French. But that is also why you need to practice your languages. And hopefully that will prevent languages from being endangered.
Okay, well, let's get into part 2 of our article, Saving Endangered Languages.
Life isn't easy in those native communities. The people depend on nature to provide food and water. When those aren't easily available, some of the people move to big cities. There, the people must use the more common language to find work and survive. Over time, they forget their native language.
All right, let's get today's article started. We are doing part 2 of Saving Endangered Languages.
Okay, let's get into our article. Life isn't easy in those native communities. So we're talking about the native communities that are in the tropics regions where there's small groups of people. So not big cities or towns even, but probably small villages with just a small number of people that speak the local language.
Right. Continuing on with the article, the people depend on nature to provide food and water. So usually you'll find that a lot of these communities don't need English. They don't need, all these big city talk, because a lot of their survival is based on things that they can do themselves. They can provide their own meat and vegetables, their own houses. So really for them to move to a big city, it's not really that vital to their survival. And we have this word to provide. That is our verb, and it means to supply something. So for these communities, they get their own source of food, water, and shelter.
Yeah, so these people living in their communities probably don't usually need to speak another language until they maybe go outside of that area. And then maybe if they don't practice their local language when they're outside, they might forget it as well.
Right, exactly. Well, let's go to Tina.
Hello, I'm Tina. 我们来看一下刚刚课文里提到的单字跟文法重点。首先来看看单字的部分。Provide 动词提供。The hotel provides clean towels and soap. 这家饭店提供干净的毛巾和肥皂。我们再来看一下文法重点 ，depend on 依靠、依赖，这是一个不可分的片语动词。depend 表示依靠，我们来看看这个例句 ：I depend on my family for support。我依靠家人的支持。接着我们回到课文当中。
Thanks, Tina. Now let's get back to this article. When those aren't easily available, and that means food and water, some of the people move to big cities.
Right. So usually, as we were talking about, they grow up kind of being very self-sufficient or very independent. They know how to live. They don't really need things like money. They use probably a trading system. And because they have grown up, surviving on their own, they don't really have a reason to go out into the city until it's hard to get the things that they usually are very good at getting, like food and water.
So that gives them a reason to go into the city to get those things because their food and water is not available to them. So available is an adjective and it means that something is able to be used or you're able to get that thing. So if something is available, you can have it, you can use it. If water is available, it's there for you to drink it or to use it for cooking. But when it's not available, well, that's when people need to go look somewhere else.
Right, and with the rise of things like global warming, that might make it harder for these small communities to get things that used to be very easily available and accessible. Continuing on with the article, there, the people must use the more common language to find work and survive. So for a lot of these smaller communities who grew up speaking just their language, when they go outside to the bigger cities, those bigger cities are not going to know all of the smaller languages. So it's going to be really hard for them to communicate. And we have this word to survive, our verb, and it basically means to be able to continue living. All right, let's go see what Tina has to say.
我们来看一下刚刚课文里提到的单字 available, available 形容词可取得的 The medicine is available at most pharmacies. 这种药在大多数药局都能买到 Pharmacy 指的就是药局Survive, survive 动词生存存活下来 Some plants can survive with little water 一些植物在缺水的情况下也能存活接着我们回到课文当中
Thanks, Tina. Now back to the article. Over time, they forget their native language. So as time passes, people that have moved from their community to the city they might even forget their native language, which is crazy to me to think that you could lose your first language. That I could someday forget how to speak English and completely speak another language.
Yeah, because for me, my native language is English. That's the language I think in. So that's really hard. That's actually kind of scary to think that some people do forget that native language because what are you thinking?
Well, whatever new language you've learned.
I guess. Well, let's go to the second part of the article and we'll be right back.
Also, the elders in their native communities pass away, so their native language disappears. When nobody uses a native language anymore, the language dies. What's more, when a language dies, everything about it dies.
Welcome back from the break. Before the break, we touched a little bit on how important it is for these smaller communities to kind of preserve their language as best as they can because a lot of the younger generation are starting to move out to the bigger cities because it's harder and harder to find things like food and water in their original smaller communities. But because of this, it is unfortunately starting to affect their language. They're starting to forget their native languages.
Okay, continuing with our article. Also, the elders in their native communities pass away.
So you are actually talking about this in our previous episode. You had actually witnessed this yourself where you see the older generation, the grandparents, they're still speaking the language, but what happens when they pass away?
That's right. And so pass away is really a polite way to say die. When we use it when usually a person dies, it's more polite or less direct to say that they passed away. So it's much more common to hear someone say, that their family member passed away because we kind of think of the word die as being a bit harsh and feeling a bit rude to say
Yes.
out loud.
Pass away is definitely more gentle. But the sad thing about the elders passing away is along with them passing away, their knowledge and their language is also passing away. Continuing on with the article, so their native language disappears. So this is what we were talking about, how if a lot of the people are stopping the language and they're also not passing it on to the next generation, you're going to see that these languages slowly start to disappear. And when something disappears, that is our verb, it means to go missing or to go away. And sometimes when something disappears, it's really hard for it to get back.
Yes, especially with languages, because if there are no longer any people who actually speak the language, you can't know for sure exactly how it sounded.
Yeah, especially because languages are such a people-to-people thing. It is hard when no one's there to speak it with you. Well, let's go to Tina.
我们来看一下刚刚课文里提到的单字 disappear 动词消失 The sun disappeared behind the clouds 太阳消失在云后文法的部分刚刚提到了 pass away 过世这是 die 死去死亡的委婉说法我们来看看这个例句 The old man passed away last year那位老人去年过世了。接着我们回到课文当中。
Thanks, Tina. Now let's get back to this article. When nobody uses a native language anymore, the language dies.
Right, so we're kind of talking about it like a person.
Yeah, language can also die in the sense that it's no longer around anymore, so no one's using it or speaking it, then it is dead.
So the thing that keeps it alive is people speaking it. Continuing on with the article, what's more, when a language dies, everything about it dies. And I think because everyone knows that so much of culture relies on language. Language is a very big part of culture and tradition. And that's really sad.
Yeah, so we can't so easily let these languages die because once they're gone, and then everything about it is gone, and that culture has lost a part of their culture.
Right. Well, let's go to Tina.
我们来看一下刚刚课文里提到的文法。What's more， 再者，而且，这是一个副词片语，常放在句首。我们来看看这个例句。The movie was funny. What's more, it was based on a true story. 这部电影很有趣，再者，它是根据真实故事改编的。接着我们回到课文当中。
All right, thank you, Tina. One thing that I will say that I have been enlightened by is there are a lot of communities and programs that are trying their very best to try and keep what they have left to teach to the next generation and really encourage them that this is not just about communication. This is more about keeping their culture alive.
Yeah, people need to be aware that it's something that you need to do as a way to help maintain your community and your culture. And yeah, some children might not want to because it's hard work, but it's important to save these languages.
Right. So the most important thing for now is to prevent it from being lost forever because getting it back is definitely really, really hard. But that is all for today. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let's review the article again and we'll see you tomorrow.
Life isn't easy in those native communities. The people depend on nature to provide food and water. When those aren't easily available, some of the people move to big cities. There, the people must use the more common language to find work and survive. Over time, they forget their native language. Also, the elders in their native communities pass away, so their native language disappears. When nobody uses a native language anymore, the language dies. What's more, when a language dies, everything about it dies.
我们来复习一下这一课的重点单字跟文法。单字的部分 ，provide 动词提供 available 形容词，可取得的。survive 动词，生存，存活下来。disappear 动词，消失。接着我们来看看文法的部分。depend on 依靠，依赖。Who do you depend on the most? 你最依赖谁？ Pass away 过世。Melanie's cat passed away last night. Melanie 的猫咪昨晚死掉了。What's more 再者而且。Gabe bought a house. What's more, it once belonged to our star. Gabe 买了一栋房子，而且他之前的屋主是一位明星。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Hey, 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 it's Kiwi on the street. I'm Kiki. And I'm Winnie. It's time for Fear Box. Ready?
No.
Doesn't matter. Be gentle.
Is it an animal?
What
is wrong with you?
Okay, no more jokes.
Ew.
What do you feel?
Curly and springy thing. It's a bit sharp. It's kind of scratchy. I think I know what it is.
What is it?
It's a stainless steel scrub.
Stainless
Or
steel
what? A
scrub.
steel scrub. Steel scrub.
Yes. Yes, ding, ding, ding. I wanted you to think that it was something scary.
It was, because you don't really think about what a steel brush feels like. But then you also recognize that feeling.
It's a very distinct texture.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And the way it moves.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have for today. Remember to follow us on Instagram and send us a DM or an email if there's something you want to say in English and you just don't know how. Kiki, is there anything you want to say?
Let us know what to put in the fear box.
Kiwi later.